The roller coaster industry today is full of well-known and experienced manufacturers, from the near perfection of reliability from B&M to the companies pushing the thrill limits like Intamin and RMC. It's not too often that you get a new company or a manufacturer with little experience joining in the major thrill industry. In fact, the last time I think that happened was RMC in 2011. And it's very unlikely that an amusement park chain is going to pick that company to complete one of their largest projects, if not their largest project. However, this recently happened at one of the world's best amusement parks, Cedar Point. Some of you might be thinking, Zamperla isn't new, and they aren't really inexperienced in the amusement industry. And you're right, after all, they are one of the best manufacturers for flat rides, and are usually one of the go-tos for parks looking to add a thrilling or family-level flat ride to their park. The company has also built over 300 roller coasters, most of those being family or kiddie rides, with their most thrilling being the Thunderbolts, which are around 100 feet tall. But those roller coasters aren't exactly successful, I would say. Now don't get me wrong, they might be fun and thrilling rides, but if you put this up against thrill coasters from well-known manufacturers like Intamin, B&M, Mach, RMC, I'm gonna choose one of the well-known manufacturers. And that's exactly what most parks usually do when they're looking for a good investment. They will pick something from a manufacturer that they know can make a good thrill ride. So when news got out that Zamperla would be working on Top Thrill 2 at Cedar Point, I was skeptical. But I held out hope that maybe Zamperla could have a similar situation to RMC with New Texas Giant, a relatively inexperienced thrill coaster manufacturer taking on a huge project to prove themselves. But did Zamperla take on too much more than they could handle? To answer that question, we have to back it up a little bit in both the company's timeline as well as Cedar Point's timeline. First, we'll learn about the company Zamperla. Zamperla has been in the amusement industry since 1966, creating lots of flat rides and coasters. They have innovated many different experiences with flat rides and have some of the best out there. However, when it came to coasters, it tells a different story. While they were building a lot of coasters, they weren't exactly as popular as the major companies in the industry. They were building mostly family coasters, and most of the time at smaller parks who couldn't afford anything much more than what Zamperla had to offer. Think of them in the middle ground of a manufacturer like Intamin and a manufacturer like Pinfari. They offered a somewhat thrilling coaster for a cheap price, but nowhere near the quality on a level like Intamin. And things seem to be going okay, but in recent years, Zamperla has taken steps to improve their coasters, including making an entire new coaster department with former Intamin team members, and they had high hopes to prove themselves as one of the major thrill ride manufacturers. They stepped into the modern launch industry, creating multiple launch coaster layouts and designing the lightning trains, which are supposed to be a low maintenance and innovative train design, even though that could be debated. But we'll get into that later on. They had built themselves up as a company greater than their past, wanting to do bigger and better projects than they ever had before, and a perfect opportunity arose at a world-famous amusement park in Sandusky, Ohio. Cedar Point had removed Wicked Twister in 2021 to make way for the boardwalk section of the park. Having a family coaster gap to fill, they reached out to Zamperla to build them a spinning wild mouse that would provide some thrill while still maintaining a family fun feeling, which not only filled the modern family coaster gap in the park, but also the spinning coaster gap as well. Around the same time this project started, Cedar Point experienced a major incident with Top Thrill Dragster that left it standing but not operating for the rest of the 2021 season. They later announced that they would be reimagining the ride, which left people wondering who would be working on the massive coaster. I'm not entirely sure what happened behind the scenes, but Cedar Point may have had multiple proposals from different manufacturers, but most likely, due to price and the ease of already working with Zamperla, Cedar Point chose Zamperla to take on the massive project. Once the news spread throughout the community, many people were skeptical about the company working on the project because they had never done anything on the scale of Top Thrill 2 before. However, this was the perfect chance for new Zamperla to take a major step to be one of the best manufacturers in the industry. I know some people, including myself, were optimistic that Zamperla could do this project, and that it would again be one of the best coasters in the park and in the world. With the official announcement and all throughout construction, it seemed like they had pulled off this massive achievement, so on April 28th, the ride welcomed its first riders for preview events. I was one of the people who got to ride it on the preview days, and this coaster was looking to be a massive success for the park. Everything about it was near perfection. Zamperla nailed the ride experience, and the coaster slipped into my top 10. I'm not going to review the ride because I already have a video up on my channel that goes in depth, so if you want to hear more about the ride experience, check out that video. If you would have asked me then if Zamperla succeeded on this project, I would have 100% said yes. But after about a week of operation to the public, the ride experienced some downtime, and the park came out with an official statement saying that the ride would be closed until Zamperla could install a modification on the trains. It has been about 3 months since then, and there's been very little action on the ride, as well as no official updates from the park. The updates that we do have from the park blame Zamperla, saying that they are waiting on the ride's manufacturer to get the ride running. Currently, it looks like we won't see any riders on this attraction until the 2025 season. So then comes the question, did Zamperla really succeed on the project? Did they prove themselves as a worthy manufacturer to the coaster industry? Did they take on more than they could handle? All of these questions don't have a clear answer as of now, and maybe they never will. The 2024 season for Cedar Point was looking to be one of the best yet. They would finally have their 400-foot coaster open, and it would be better than ever. But it's hard to have a successful season when the coaster you've spent lots of money and time marketing for months in advance is closed. While the ride experience is great, parks aren't going to purchase something from a manufacturer that can't keep a ride open. Maybe Zamperla took on a much bigger project than what they thought it would be, considering their innovative train design couldn't handle the forces of the ride, and who knows what the trains are doing to the structure of the top hat, since it wasn't originally designed for that kind of train. I have hope that Zamperla can fix this major bump in the road, and that there isn't any more after this, but if there is, the company could find themselves handling a huge maintenance nightmare, and realize that maybe they weren't prepared for such a massive project. Maybe they can be one of the best manufacturers in the industry as long as they stick to smaller coasters, like on the scale of what they had previous experience doing. But a coaster on the scale of Top Thrill 2 may not be an area that the company succeeds in. With all of the unknowns in this situation, there could be so many outcomes, and we don't nearly know enough to assume what will happen to the park, the ride, and the manufacturer. So this is mainly just speculation on how this sort of failed attraction could affect the company. And there's a lot more information to this video topic that we just don't know at this time. With that being said, let me know your thoughts about this situation and the effect it will have on the company Zamperla down in the comments below. And as always, thank you all for watching.